I'm taking a look today at this Victure AC940 4K action cam. This camera is capable of 4K video of up to 60 frames per second, 120 frames per second in 1080p, and 240 frames per second in 720p. Those numbers all sound great on paper, but I'm going to put everything to the test in real-world scenarios with different resolutions and frame rates in various scenarios and see how it really holds up. Alright, so cracking open the box, we get the paperwork that nobody ever reads. And supposedly this housing is waterproof up to 40 meters. The camera itself is waterproof up to 5 meters deep. Also included are all of these mounting accessories, 2 batteries, and a remote control for starting and stopping videos and taking snapshots. The camera is pretty solidly constructed and has some nice weight to it. It also has 1/4 mounting thread on the bottom. But that's about all there is to cover for the unboxing. Let's get out there and record some video. First off, let's get the big question out of the way. How does it stack up against a GoPro? Well, not very well. Here you can see on the left I've recorded some 1080p footage from an old GoPro Hero 4. And on the right, I've got the Victure AC940 action cam, recording in 4K. I think the image speaks for itself. Here's a video quality sample at 4K, 60 frames per second. And here's a video quality sample at 1080p, 60 frames per second. And here are those same 2 clips placed side by side. Here's a clip recorded at 1080p, 120 frames per second. And the reason that I took this clip is so that I could slow it down to 25%, which looks like this. And here I've dropped down to a resolution of 720p, but 240 frames per second. At 720p, the image quality really starts to fall apart, which is a shame, because at 240 frames, it could make for some really epic slow-mo. It's just too bad that the image quality is such garbage at 720p. Alright, so I hope you can hear me right now. The built-in microphone of this camera is not the best, and I guess this does serve as a makeshift microphone test for this thing. We've got wind kicking up, we've got water out here, there's a lot of background noise, but I've done some other microphone tests with this, and as I've seen, it's not the best mic in the world. But what I'm going to do now is a waterproof test of this camera. Victure claims that this camera is waterproof without the case up to 5 meters. I'm not going to go in that deep, and even if I did have the case, this lake is not 40 meters deep. That's what it's rated for with the case. But anyway, I think it's even 5 meters deep at its deepest part. Maybe. I don't know. Probably about 8 inches. And we're going to see what happens. I'm kind of nervous about this, but we're going to give it a shot. Here we go. No going back now. Still recording. I guess it passed. And in my car, here's the same mic test in an isolated, probably optimized environment. There are no lake noises, there's no bird noises, no wind, so I guess I could stop jangling my keys. But again, this is the same mic test in an environment where you're not going to have any background noise. But I don't think people who are going to be using action cams are going to be using them inside their cars most of the time. And I don't think people who are using action cams to get action shots are really so much worried about professional audio. And if they are, they're going to have to synchronize that with an external device when they're using this camera. You can record this camera's video output through its micro HDMI port, which I'm doing now. I'm running this into a capture card and capturing this through my PC via OBS Studio. And as you just saw, I saw out of the corner of my eye that the video blanked out, and that's a major limitation that you have with this camera when you're using it in the micro HDMI mode. And as with any camera, when you record in a higher frame rate, you have a darker image. I'm recording this in 4K 60 now, and as you can see, the difference that I just recorded in 4K 30, it's a lot darker. If you want to record video from this camera directly into your PC, this is how I recommend that you do it. I've got this camera set up in PC camera mode, and I'm running this camera through a USB cable into my PC, recording this in OBS in PC webcam mode. That essentially turns this camera into a USB webcam. The camera quality is limited to 1080p, 30 frames per second, or 720p, 60 frames per second. But I think as far as webcam quality goes, this actually looks pretty good for a webcam. Here are a few time-lapse sample recordings that I made. Here are a couple of electronic image stabilization test comparisons, with both stabilization turned on and off in each sample. And like most action cams, this camera does have terrible fisheye, but I found that it was very easily correctable in Adobe Premiere with the GoPro lens distortion correction preset. So this has been my review of the Victure AC940 4K action cam. I do want to throw out there that I am not at all affiliated with Victure. They did not pay me for this review, and I am in no way obligated to give them a good review one way or the other, and they will not be approving this video before it is posted. But with that being said, I do want to extend a sincere thank you to Victure for sending me this action cam and making this video possible. But is the Victure AC940 4K action cam worth it? Well, you saw the footage, and that's up to you to decide. But I'm going to wrap this video up with a shout out to my channel supporters. If you would like to support this channel either on Patreon or Ko-Fi, there will be links in the description below. Donations are appreciated, but never expected. And remember, the best way you can support this channel, or any small creator, is to interact with their content. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. That's it for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time with more money-saving tech tips, tutorials, and tech reviews.